Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. So, welcome to the internet's only live fountain pen show. Well, maybe it's not, but it's the only one that I know about, and it's certainly my favorite. So, welcome to the channel. So happy to be here. I see a lot of really lovely people in the comments already. Welcome, everyone. My daughter's still up. You may hear her in the background. So, bonus points. Everyone take a shot when you can hear my daughter yelling out in the background. So, good stuff. Lovely to be with you all. First, I want to start by thanking all the members of this channel. Thank you so much, guys. You motivate me every day. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's always a joy when I hear from one of you, and I really appreciate you all being there. So thank you. And if you'd like to join this channel, you can. There should be a join button next to the subscribe button, or you can go to www.youtube.com/HemingwayJones/join. Love to have you behind the curtain with us. Lots of shenanigans going on back there. Blooper reels, readings from my journals, and sometimes I really rely on you guys with questions and ideas which way I should take the channel. So thank you to all the members and thank you to all the viewers. Appreciate it. If you've been watching my channel for a while, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you along on this journey with us. And it really helps a small channel like mine to get out there. Okay? So thank you. I see Wolverine 3660 or 0 is with us. Nice to see you there, my friend. Techno Raptor, the mighty Eric Miller. Lots of wonderful people. Avec is there. Always a pleasure, my friend. Simon. Lots of all the usual suspects, like you would see in Casablanca, right? Phil Munson. Lovely, lovely people. Thank you all. Wolf Seat Witch, the person with one of the most impressive pen collections I know. Always talk, and she seems to know every pen I'm speaking about and has 4 or 5 iterations of it. So always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Judy Anderson, lovely. Okay, and Gino's here as well. Lovely people. So welcome. Let's get started. So tonight I thought we'd do a lot of different things. I thought we'd attempt to do a live pen review. I hope you all saw the Conway Stewart video that I put up about 2 weeks ago. It was a wonderful video. I really enjoyed making it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you haven't seen that, please take a look. I'd love to get it out there to more people. Also, guys, if you could share it with someone who you think might enjoy this content, that would be brilliant. So let's take up on that and let's get into brass tacks and talk a little more in depth. And even though it was a pretty comprehensive review, I think in the presentation and the smoothness of it and the bit on Churchill and whatnot, maybe some of the details got lost. So I just thought it'd be great to take some time and really discuss a pen which really hasn't left my side since I've acquired it. And if you recall, Conway Stewart sent me this to make the other video. It was just a 1 video deal, so we can talk about this after the fact and enjoy it. Shall we? Shall we? And please, don't worry about needing to watch it first. You can do this bit and then watch the video later. So let's talk about it. So lovely pen sleeve. I love these kind of pen sleeves. I'm putting it on the wrong way. These are very popular, these pen sleeves, back in the 70s and the 80s. And it's just really lovely to see one. It has the Conway Stewart symbol here embossed. It says Conway Stewart made in England. Very well rendered, very nice. I'll be honest, I don't know if this is leather or not. To me, that doesn't matter so much. I just want it to hold up. My suspicion is it's not, but it may be. So let's leave that out. So just a very nice pen case, and it protects it. And by the way, I use this pen case every day. I have a video coming out this Thursday on my everyday carry. So we're going beyond fountain pens, I think for the first time, or one of the first times. I think we did a few watches a few months back. But I show you everything I carry with me every day, including the bag that I put in. So, it should be interesting. And I can note that I put this in that bag. And this gives me the confidence, this pen case, that I'll have no issues. So, okay, so simply slides on, does a really nice job of that. Already you get to see the top of the pen. So now slide it out the rest of the way. And I mean, look at this. One of the things I love about this pen is it's stunningly beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful pens I've ever seen. And I said in the review that I gasped when I opened it. And that wasn't an exaggeration. I literally gasped. It's just amazing that you get a pen that looks so vintage in 2022. Now, this is an acrylic resin pen, but it sort of fools you. There's a bit of trompe l'oeil going on here, where you feel as if it's a celluloid pen or something. It's not. It's acrylic resin, but it looks like the old school celluloid resin. It's also quite light, which is really nice. It has this oversized cap, which you can certainly post, but I choose not to. I've only put it on the back for filming, just to show you how, because it's quite long. I'll put it on the back, but I just don't want to scratch it. It's so lovely. But do you see what I mean? I think it's a little long. And if you take it off, I think that's perfect. It's just the perfect length without it. So I like to put it down in front of me and almost enjoy the cap itself separate from the pen, because it glistens and it's the same acrylic resin and it's just gorgeous. So I'm going to put it back together for now. So a nice length. I'd call it slightly oversized. It's got sort of the girth of a 149, if you will, but it's very comfortable and it just has a really nice dimensions. You see a relatively flat top that reminds you of like a Waterman from the 20s or 30s. It very much carries the design cues of a vintage pen from the 30s to the 40s. So pretty neat. So I'm going to point out a few things. One is all this metal, gold is gold. It's all 9-carat gold. And each of these bands is made of gold. I'm assuming the lever is gold as well because it looks identical. There's no off color, and perhaps the clip too, but certainly the bands are. I know that for a fact. And the bands also carry hallmarks, which is a way of certifying gold in the UK and I guess around the world. But you don't often see them. Usually you see them on antiques or trays and things. So it's super fun to see that on a pen. I'm always getting fuzz on my pens. What's the worst when I get fuzz on my pens and it shows up on the B-roll? It drives me mad. I don't know why I'm so fuzzy. Is it the sweaters? I don't know. But so another thing I really love, and I hope you guys can make it out, but do you see the cap? Yeah, you can see it there. Do you see those ridges? It's just a really cool Art Deco design cue that definitely gives you a bit of that 1930s feel. In fact, this pen, don't you think of Marcus Brody in the tank squirting ink in the eyes of the tank driver in The Last Crusade? That's what this pen makes me think of. Or like Poirot would use a pen like this. It's just got that consummate antique look to it. And it's brilliant. The other thing that's really cool about the acrylic resin is that it's I guess I'll call it translucent. You can see through it in parts. I don't think that came through very well in the video. And I don't think it would come through very well here. But you can see as you move the cap along the nib that you can see through it, which is incredibly cool. So very beautiful. And they also give you a cloth that's treated with a substance that keeps it from tarnishing and just keeps it shiny and nice. So that's very nice that comes with it. So it's a very, very cool. I hope Yeah, I hope it's showing up well. I hear Avec saying it looks girthy on camera, and I would say yes. It has some girth to it, but it's not uncomfortable. So if you're going to write with it, you would unscrew it, of course, and then it's in your hand like this. And I mean, that's quite balanced. It's quite a nice size. And you can see, like, I tend to hold my pens with a fairly relaxed grip in any case. So in this one, you can really cradle it between your fingers. And it has such a generous feed and such a smooth nib that it's really quite easy to steer it. So you don't feel as if you're out of control or that it's awkward because it's a girthier pen. It's actually very comfortable and you can be very relaxed with it. Although it is a wetter writing experience, which I think I've learned is some of my favorite writing experiences. So the nib itself is a Yovo gold nib that they have etched with their logo and whatnot. And I don't know if this will pick up because I use the camera on my MacBook Pro for these lives because we're still getting started out in the best way of doing these. But you have a Yovo gold nib that's modified with their symbol etched, and then it's attached to the feed and installed by John Soroka. And I hope I pronounce his name correctly, but he is a nibsmith in the UK and evidently very famous fellow, very talented fellow. So I like that peace of mind when you think about a lot of pens out there, and especially pens that have issues. Like, well, I don't want to call out other pens brands, but we know that there are a lot of. Now, you know what? I will call out expensive pen brands because somebody has to tell the truth, right? And I'm not a pen shop, so I can say whatever I want. That's the beautiful thing, I think, about my channel. A lot of the popular I'm so modest. A lot of the popular pen channels are stores, and they have a vested interest in certain pens being popular. But we all know, like the Visconti Homo sapiens, sometimes the nibs are a little funky, and the better reputable pen stores will test them for you before you get them. So I like the fact that someone as talented as John Soroka has already done that with this, adjusted it, tested it, make sure it writes nicely before it gets shipped off to you. I mean, that's peace of mind because I obsess about these things. And I really like to know a professional has already looked at it. So that's brilliant. Now, this is something I didn't know. If the grip here were black, they'd call that bracketed. So this one isn't, so it's not. I didn't know that. I just learned that from Conway Stewart. So very cool design. Neat to have the acrylic all the way down here. You see you get a nice sloping grip with just a bit of a ridge. Very Mont Blanc 149 like here. Maybe slightly, maybe a touch narrower, but you definitely get that slope up and that little lip that tells you, okay, don't go any further or you're going to get ink on your fingers. So very comfortable. And plus you have the threads back here, which I often hold my pens back by the threads. So very comfortable, very nice design. Okay. And very, very smooth. I'm trying to keep up with your comments too. It's always tough because I'm doing the show and I'm reading your comments. So it's always fun. So absolutely brilliant. I got it in a medium nib. And it's one of those medium nibs that has a bit of line variation if you're very disciplined in how you write. If you have a very light hand and you just barely touch the end of your pen to the paper and allow gravity basically to take it, and then you move it along, you'll get a nice fine line. And then just a tiny bit more micro of pressure will give you a thicker line. So if you play around with that, you can get some line variation. Also, anytime you take a medium nib and you keep it perfectly parallel to the bottom line, you get that troweling effect. So I feel like my handwriting looks very vintage when I write with this. I think that has a lot to do with the overall feel and effect. I think it casts a spell, and maybe like some sort of hypnotism, I'm very receptive to it. I just think it's an absolutely brilliant pen that inspires me and beguiles me. So Now let's talk about something that might be a sticking point. So it has a lever fill. Now, they're kind of maligned in some quarters. I personally love them. I don't mind them at all. I know the problems that people have. A lot of the problems is that they don't hold a lot of ink. And I would say that this doesn't, I don't know how much ink this holds. I haven't measured, but I can tell you it doesn't hold a lot. I do write a lot, but I'd say I probably get around 4 or 5 days writing with this pen. Now, part of the reason is that back when these kind of fills were popular, everyone had one of these on their desks. So it was pretty easy to just ink it up again. And maybe you and I have these on their desk, but some people ink their pens once a month. And I've always said that's where blue black comes from. It's all of us that were too lazy to change our colors. So it's like, what color do you have? Oh, blue. Oh, I have black. Oh, well, whatever. You just put it in there. Well, you're not going to get a whole bunch of ink in here. Now, I don't mind that at all because for me, I see that as a plus because I'm able to experiment with a lot of different inks. So to me, it's just sort of a joy to play around with that. Now, I'll tell you another thing. When it was sent to me, they had dip tested it with black ink. So when I first got it, I saw it had like a little bit of ink and I tried it and it was in black. So ever since then, I've been writing in black and it actually helped me to rediscover a passion for black inks. You might recall a few weeks back, I was asking you guys for some opinions on black inks and I picked up Pearl Noir from J. Urban. I got Twisby black. And then, of course, I had Namiki black, I had Sailor black, and I think that's it for the true blacks. So I'm now sort of falling down the rabbit hole of black inks for this. So Avec is asking me, how much do I write per day? Number of pages. Okay, so I got the new journal, and we're going to talk about that next. So my journal's pretty big now, and I probably write 2 pages a day in that. Maybe another page in my ledger book for work. I probably sign my name 10 or 12 times a day. And then there's other incidental writings, notes to people, and things like that. So it's not a whole lot. So I would say it probably holds about, 4 or 5 days. You don't have an ink level window either with it, but you can tell it when it gets light. I know I'm going to run out. It's also the quality of the ink starts to change right before it runs out. You guys know that, right? Like it goes from being really thick and luscious to just starting to get thin, and you're like, oh, I'm about to run out. So then you fill it. Now, the good news is, if you don't like a lever fill, it comes in other fill mechanisms. So you don't have to get it in this iteration. For me personally, I love it. I love this fill mechanism. I even like a small ink capacity. I just like changing inks fairly regularly, and I like how it reminds me of my 475 Conway Stewart from 1940 that I have, my Waterman 52.5, which has the same fill system. And also, guys, we're trying to experience a wide range of pens and pen experiences, right? That's what my channel is all about. My channel is not about showing off that you have a beautiful shiny pen or that you spent, this about $600 for this. It's not about impressing people. It's about experiences. And it's a new experience. Some people have never used a lever fill pen. So I should probably touch on that. If you want to fill this, you open it up, which I can't do now because I could squirt ink with this. And I did just fill it this morning. So you put it in the ink bottle with it open, and then you shut it, and then you wait a few seconds, and it fills. And then you clean it off, and you're good to go. So it's fairly elegant, but you can get in a bit of trouble if your ink bottles are like the little 10 milliliter bottles from Diamine, where they're a little topply. And you try to put this in and do a lever. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. You might want to put your ink bottle into a vice grip before you do so. But certainly any kind of stable bottle like Namiki Black, which is this beautiful oblong bowl shape, or the Twisby Black, or even the Gerabon square bottom bottles. Perfect. So really easy to fill, definitely a joy. So I have been writing with this quite a bit, and I use my other pens intermittently, but this is rising to the top of my favorite pens. It's almost turning into like an obsession. Like I'm starting to think of, well, what's my next one going to be? I'll probably end up buying my next one. So I'm just so impressed with this, guys. It's so different than any other pen that's out there in the way it feels. Even the writing experience is really nice. It has nice like feedback, but it's also very smooth and it makes a fantastic noise. And I never really considered that as an attribute of a pen. And perhaps I should, because it's kind of charming, the noise it makes. And I think I've relayed this story, but I will again. I was trying to find the right word because I didn't want to say scratchy because scratchy has a bad connotation. So I came up with the word scribe. It has like this scribing noise, which you can imagine people with quills scribing, like Bartleby the Scrivener back in the 19th century. It just has this incredible oral. Oral? What's that word that means you're hearing it? I don't know. I need a co-host. Somebody's got to help me with these words. But it's definitely a wonderful experience to hear this carving, forming words as you write. So it's absolutely brilliant. Negatives. There are negatives. There's always negatives. No one's made the perfect pen yet, but perhaps they will. So the biggest negative for me, oh, sorry. I hate when I hit the mic. The biggest negative is the cap. I can't, if I'm going to fault other pens, I got to fault this. I always dislike having a bit of plastic beyond the band. I know they do it for aesthetic reasons and it is pretty, but I just wish every pen company would just move the band to the edge of the cap, because you would get so much more protection. And I just worry that if I ever drop it, and especially since I don't post it, I just worry that I could chip the cap. So I've nicked other pens for it, so I have to nick this. So that's one. The other thing is I guess the fill. You know, you do have to nick it for not being able to hold that much ink. I think that's important to a lot of people. I would say, though, that if that's really important to you, go with the other fill mechanism. You don't have to. Ben Joe says auditory experience. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I was reaching for something I couldn't grasp. Another thing I haven't mentioned is look at the Conway Stewart written on there the same way they did originally. And it says made in England. Just wonderful, wonderful craftsmanship. And I also like that Conway Stewart has an unbroken thread to the original company because they bought it along with all the plans, all the specs, and all the leftover pieces. So there is a continuity there. And I like that. Because when a heritage brand is reinvented, yet it's dislocated and it has very little aesthetic connection to its beginnings, it doesn't have the same attachment to me. But I love that these are still made in the UK. They're absolutely brilliant. Just incredible writing instruments. So I'm a big fan. Oh, see, there's the word. Thank you, Gino. That's what I was going for. Oral, relating to hearing. I was totally right. I should have more confidence in my vocabulary. Thank you, my friend. So I think to sum up everything, who should own this pen? I think anyone who wants the experience of opening a vintage pen for the first time. And I'll give you a quick story. I bought a typewriter, a Latra 22 typewriter. It's the same typewriter that Dickie Greenleaf has in The Talented Mr. Ripley with Matt Damon and Jude Law. It's that typewriter. So I bought it from someone on eBay who had it in their closet for 50 years. They bought it. Well, actually, they won it through Tupperware sales, and they never used it. So it was in the original packaging. It had never been inked. It had all the original receipts. It had the original book, everything. Just very cool. And I bought it to have the experience of buying a typewriter new in the 21st century. Well, you can get that easily with this, with a fountain pen. If you've ever wanted to go back in time and maybe go to New York and go to a pen shop and buy a pen from the 30s, new old stock, you can do that with this. You can have that experience. It's absolutely brilliant. And the spell hasn't dissipated. I'm in a honeymoon period with this pen, but it's been beguiling me every day. It's just fantastic. So absolutely adore it. So I recommend this pen, guys. It's pricey. It's definitely in the Grail pen category. But if you're looking for experiences, I don't think you'll ever find yourself selling it. I think you'll be impressed that you have a unique pen that not too many folks have and not too many people have experienced. It's like going on a rare vacation or something. It's just brilliant. And I think if you divide it by use and you have it for the rest of your life and you get a lot of joy out of it, it might be worth saving for. So I'm a huge proponent. I love this pen. So that, my friends, is probably everything and anything you want to know about the Conway Stewart Churchill Honey Noir Lever Fill fountain pen. So absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All right. So I'll answer some questions too. I'm trying to keep an eye on this. I do have this. Tell me what you guys think of this, okay? Take a look at this. Hopefully it works. Let's see. I always get in trouble when I try new technologies. You guys know I'm technology prone to accidents, but let's see. Let's see. Can you guys see the comments? And let me know, what do you think of this format? I might not keep it up all night, but I just wanted to introduce it. I mean, you get this feed anyway through YouTube, but this is a way to put it on camera so that you can see it no matter which device you're watching from, if you're watching from a smart TV or whatever you like. So let me know. So in other news, and I've showed this last week, but I just wanted to let you know how things are going with this. This is the Bottega Obscura journal. The rather large one with the beautiful binding, has my initials and these gorgeous gold accents. And my favorite part is it has these raised ribs in the back. I love that medieval look and all this cool medieval iconography. Just absolutely gorgeous. It also has these decorative effects on the sides and the top and bottom that also have texture. So absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So I'll get some nice feedback. Thank you for the suggestion. Oh, see that though? I got to be careful. If I put one of your comments up, it disappears. So I'm learning. The paper, oops, watch that. I'm going to out all my incredible writing and my banal thoughts. The paper this time around, very heavy paper, very bright. So I feel like he customized this now that he knows that I'm a fountain pen guy and everything else. So it's absolutely brilliant. It's been great with writing almost exclusively with the Conway Stewart, by the way. If you caught a glimpse of that, what I wrote, I'm sure you saw it was in black. Yeah, everything's in black here. So I've been writing exclusively with the Conway Stewart. So it was a gift from Bottega Obscura. Very nice of him. He just did it to thank me for our friendship. It had nothing to do with promoting it or anything else. He actually sent it to me, not from his business, from him personally. So I just don't want you guys to think I'm shilling for him. I'm just sharing what he sent. And in case you're interested in it, I don't even know if his Etsy shop is open right now. He tends to close it a lot. But he is an artist. These are my absolutely favorite journals. So this was a gift. I like the bigger size. And I think this is something I really want to talk to you guys about. I had been writing in the smaller one for so long, and having this bigger size just feels so luxurious, so comfortable, and my handwriting even seems to be a little better. As much as I like cramming a lot of handwriting in a small page, it looks super cool, and it really inspired me to use more fine pens. Do you guys remember I was anti-fine nib pens? And once I was using my smaller book, I was writing in extra fines and fines, and I was very much enjoying them. So now I'm back to almost exclusively mediums, but it's still fun to fill up these pages. It's just a joy. And having these on my shelves, I just want to have a whole row up here someday. I mean, probably take me 22 years. This shelf I finally filled up. It took 22 years of journals. So maybe 22 years from now, when you check back in with me, I'll have those. So absolutely a brilliant journal. Once again, a pricey object. I don't know how much you fill up your journals, but you don't have lines here, so it's up to you how you write in it. Sometimes I write this way in these kind of journals. You can draw pictures. You could take it traveling with you and do some watercolors. You could do a lot of stuff. Not too heavy a wash, but you could certainly do some sketches in here. Very interesting. It could last a normal person that doesn't journal like their life depends on it the way I do. A journal like this could last a year. So they're around $400 for this, but it is custom made, and you can get anything you want in regards to paper. And I'm sure there's some customization on the effects as well. And initials too. You can always have your initials. He always puts my initials on there. And I always use my 3 initials. So very, very lovely of him. Just a lovely gift. And I just felt like I need to share it with you guys because it's brilliant. It's one of my favorites. Absolutely brilliant. Let's go to the comments. Mara hated fines. It's the only way my handwriting was legible. Writing small with a fine nib. Well, see, that's the thing. There are some benefits to writing with a fine. But I was just not very comfortable with them myself. Because to me, part of the joy of using fountain pens is smoothness and a really lush line. So I prefer mediums and stubs. I did write my little one with the stub quite a bit. One of my favorite pens to write in the little journal with was my Lamy Safari with Oxblood ink with the calligraphy nib, which is their 1.1 stub. Absolutely brilliant. It wrote so well. So I really enjoyed that. So there's something else I want to share with you guys. And it's an ink that came from our buddy Brendan Schmidt at Atlas Stationers. He spoke about this on our interview. And if you haven't watched our interview, go check out the interview with Brendan and I. It's pretty fun. So this is an ink that's exclusive to Atlas Stationers, designed by Ferris Wheel Press. And it's called Atlas Iron Ore. And sometimes I'm a little credulous about inks and a lot of designer inks. But this time, and I'm not just saying this because Brendan's a lovely guy, but this time they really knocked it out of the park. So here, I can never open these. I don't know if you guys can open these boxes. Maybe it's because I don't have fingernails, but I actually use my pocket knife and I slide it across the top like this, and then I twist. So if you want to know what I use my pocket knives for, there's another thing I use it for. It's the only way I can get these boxes open without tearing up these flaps. And I don't always keep these boxes, but I really like this one. It's a really pretty box, right? It shows the front of Atlas Stationers, has some nice silver color, and it's the charcoal of the ink. So it gives you a sneak preview of what you're in for. And here it is. Here's the actual bottle from Ferris Wheel Press. It's that, I mean, how would you guys describe this? Like a genie bottle or perfume bottle? But then it has this industrial touch with this nut, which I still want to get my socket set on and see what the size of it is. This one's pretty large. So pretty neat. On the back here, it says Atlas Iron Ore. So really gorgeous color. Now, I'm going to share something with you guys, and I hope you'll indulge me here. So one of the things I don't like about Ferris Wheel Press, and there's very few things I don't like. It's actually pretty lovely. But when you open them, they have a piece of plastic sealing the top of the bottle. And I'm sure that's to keep it fresh, but I'm a messy person, and I look at that and I shrink in fear of this plastic stuck on the top of the bottle. So once again, I take my pocket knife, historically, and I jam through it, and then I lever it off, and then I throw it away. Now, don't do that if you've been doing that or some version of that, because my wife saw me doing it with this bottle, and she's like, you need that. Put that in the inside of the cap, because my bottles always leak from Ferris Wheel Press, because you need to shake them because the shimmer goes to the bottom. And the reason they leak is that I haven't been taking that plastic and putting it at the bottom of the cap. But I didn't know. I mean, it's a typical sort of, knuckleheaded thing that I did. And of course, my wife knew immediately, like, no, save that. You need it. Put it on the inside of the cap. And now it seals like a champ. So if you've ever had trouble with these bottles and you're a knucklehead like me, and I say that affectionately, then put it on the inside of your cap and you'll be fine. Okay, so back to the color. So what we have here is, okay, good. I see some people are coming out and standing by me and saying that they have the same issue. So that's brilliant. So yeah, put the little plastic inside the top. Because if I showed you my other bottles, they're all a mess. And I wish I could find more of those plastic pieces to put in here. So what I really like about this, and the way I think Brendan really knocked it out of the park with this color, is that it's dark. And the one thing I sometimes criticize inks, not just Ferris Wheel Press, but inks in general, is that they're not dark enough to give you contrast on the page. I feel like they're beautiful for painting or for expressing yourself with art or whatnot, or they just look fun when you make a swatch and you write next to it, or you take an ink syringe. You ever take an ink syringe and just squirt it on a page and it makes a splotch? That's super fun. But would I actually write with it? And a lot of these inks that people suggest or design, they're just not inks that you would write with. But let me show you this one. Let me show you. So as you know, I have my handy ink library, which is a moleskin watercolor sketchbook. So not very high tech. I started in May 21. Here's some color verse. It has every ink I own. There's only one ink in the house that's not in here. It's my wife has Colorverse, and it's one of the cool Galaxy inks, and she hasn't opened it yet. I'm dying to get my hands on it so I can try it out. But okay, so we have all these colors, all these months, all the new inks that came in the house, everything I review. Here's sepia black, by the way, or sepia, however you like to say it, from Diplomat. Pretty great if you want it to look old-fashioned. Okay, let me give you an example of something I might not write with. Like, this is beautiful, but I don't think I'd write with that. It's just too light, but it's beautiful. Here's the new blacks that came in the house. Okay, so here it is. This is iron ore. So you get a hint of shimmer, and it's sort of a bluish silver that actually reminds me of moonlight on a pond at night. Yeah, because the moon would only be out at night. That's a bit redundant, but you know what I mean. So it looks like the edges of a rippling pond, just a bit of shimmer, a bit of magic. But look at that writing. I mean, it's high contrast. It's a beautiful color. It's brilliant. So I'm a big fan. Now, it does have shimmer. So for me, I would not put this in a pen that I cannot field strip. That's my limit. If I can't take the pen completely apart and wash it, it doesn't get shimmer. And it might not get sheen. I wouldn't put sheen in my Conway Stewart, in a Mont Blanc. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't put shimmer in them either. Or anything else that's hard to clean or expensive. So if it's cheap enough that I don't care, I probably would. But if it's designed to be field stripped, like the Lamy Safari or the TWSBI Eco or the TWSBI 508, anything that you can take apart completely, put back together. TWSBIs are super easy. Just have to look out for the fins. There's plenty of tutorials how to do it. Would eat up an ink like this. So absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. I can't wait to put this in a stub. I don't have it in a pen yet. I've been writing with it with my dip pen. I did a little correspondence for Christmas, and I used this ink. So I'm really enjoying it. And I'm going to actually probably ink up one very soon. Very, very soon. So that's Atlas Stationers. They also sent a really nice card. It has their top. And look at this person. Has very nice handwriting when they send it. They did that stylized nib. It's very, very clever. Really nice. So very nice of them. That came with a Grail pen. That ink was not ordered on its own. It came accompanying a Grail pen that's coming for Christmas. Any ideas what it might be? Putting it away. Is it like ASMR? So brilliant color. Really like it. But it did not come alone. It came in a pen that I would never put that ink into because I'm too paranoid. It came, ladies and gentlemen, with the Visconti Homo sapiens Bronze Age. That's what it came with. Now, I haven't seen it yet because it's for Christmas, but I know it's here. It's in the house. So I am very excited. Wolf Seat Witch gets it almost immediately. Wolverine gets it as well. Yes, Gino. The Visconti Homo sapien Bronze Age. All you guys know me so well. Phil Munson as well. I'm so impressed. Thank you. Thank you. I feel so seen by you guys. Eric Miller. I'll be excited to see your reaction. Yeah, maybe I should. Well, it's going to be hard. I'm going to get it Christmas morning. I was thinking maybe I should film the reaction, but that kind of takes some of the magic away from my wife. But very lovely of my wife to pick this up for Christmas for me. So, Shane put shimmer ink in a Pilot Custom 823. I hope that worked out okay. I would be very, very nervous if I were you. So, interesting stuff. So while we're on the subject of Grail pens, and I see Mara's not a fan of the Visconti Homo sapiens. And you know what? That's great. We all have our different pens. I don't know if I'm a fan or not because I've held them and I dipped one once, but I've never written with one. But the thing is, I think you guys know I've traveled extensively in Italy. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I'm trying to learn Italian. I'm like borderline conversational. I have a terrible accent, but I have a terrible accent in English, so it's consistent. it seems strange that I didn't have that Italian pen. And just the fact that it's made of lava rock from Mount Etna is just so fun, especially since I'm watching White Lotus right now and it takes place in Tormino. So it just seems like it's my time for that pen, maybe slightly overdue. So I am very, very excited. So there is another Grail pen on the way. I got carried away last weekend. I almost feel a little guilty about it. Almost. But I think you guys can understand. So, have you ever looked at Peyton Street pens just to see what they have? And then you scroll and you're like, oh, yeah, Schaefer from the 90s. Very cool. Oh, look at that. A Parker Duofold from the 40s. I have one of those. And then you look and there's a Canadian made Waterman with a flexible, fine to double broad nib that is the right size for my hand, that's in almost perfect condition, and it's about $450. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't. Trying to be good, trying not to spend money on things and just enjoy the things I have. But then it's that old narrative of the perfect flex nib, and we all know that those Waterman nibs are not like anything else. And then I start rationalizing, oh, I can use it for the channel and I can make a really great video, and I'm learning calligraphy. The vintage flex nib will be perfect for that. And it's here. It's like it was made for me. Like it's this destiny. I have to have it. And I'm like, no. So I didn't buy it, and then I waited a day and I bought it. So that's on its way. So that will be cool. Not really a Christmas present. That was a self-indulgence. So I am super excited to share that with all of you when it arrives. Peyton Street Pens, I don't know much about who runs it or anything else, but I can tell you that I've bought several vintage pens from them, and they usually under promise. If they say something is in like semi decent condition, it's usually in good condition. They don't overpromise. I've never been disappointed when I got something from them. So I do like to do business with them. I also spend a little bit more money with them because we all know you can buy a pen like that on eBay probably for half the price. But when it comes, you don't know what sort of maintenance you could be in for. With this, I know it's going to be perfect. I know it's going to write, and I know that they'll stand behind it. And if it doesn't perform correctly when I first get it, I can send it right back. But I am so excited, guys. I have 2 pens coming that are like dream pens. And I don't think I could ever say that in my life. You know, the Visconti Homo Sapiens, Bronze Age, absolutely brilliant. It's going to be super fun. And maybe the most perfect flex nib that has ever been coming my way. And I will share with all of you. And especially with our members, who I must thank again. Love you guys. I hope I don't embarrass you by how much I say it, but you really keep me going. Because like I get a little sad sometimes that more people don't see some of the more artistic videos that go out there. But that's okay. I think that it's a new taste almost, and we have to create the taste, right? I think that people are used to looking at people who read off a monitor and they have their notes of what the different specs of a pen are, and they read while they talk about it, and then you see their disembodied hands writing. What do they write? Like, every good boy does fine. No, that's the musical scale. But there's something that everybody writes. I don't know. I try not to watch these things because I want to do something new. Now, you guys saw, I just did a pen review off the top of my head. I don't read off of a monitor. I just tell you guys how passionate I am about them and how I think you can connect with these pens. Because the whole idea is to keep you writing, keep you inspired, and keep you engaged so that you're always thinking about how these tools can be used to make your life richer and more interesting. Because otherwise, you could just use a Bic pen on a piece of paper. So I promise I will never bore you. I might be a little pretentious sometimes. I might be a little self-indulgent, but I'll never bore you. That's my promise to you. And if you're watching now and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It really helps. Little channels like mine, we're struggling out here. All the big boys, they don't even know we exist. So it's very, very tough. Ooh, somebody has a bad mini. I am so sad to hear that, Mummy Brown. A lackluster eco. That's like something I've never heard. What's the nib on that? Because I am such a fan. Oh, Shane says, if you can see this comment, look right there. I'm trying to figure out how to interact, because if I start to scroll, it's going to scroll there. It's reversed, so it throws you off. But Shane says that I'm on the right track in regards to the style of your channel, 100%. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. But see, the thing is, lucky for me, this is a hobby. I have a full-time job, and everything's fine. So I can do this and enjoy it and share it with you guys. But that's what makes my members so important, because you guys give me the feedback. You give me the inspiration. You're supporting the channel. It means so much to me. This software you guys are paying for, I really appreciate. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much. So if you'd like to join the channel, there's a join button next to subscribe. I'd love to have you behind the scenes. I'm about to read some more journal entries. I just put up a blooper reel, and I put up a blooper reel for a video I haven't posted yet. I'm thinking maybe I should post the video and then post the blooper reel, because maybe out of context it's not as fun. I don't know. But I think the blooper reels are kind of funny. I used to just delete them. Sometimes the language gets a little colorful, but what happens is it gets a little absurd sometimes. I like to do some things in one take because I try to avoid cuts. Now, sometimes I don't. It depends on the video. But I do have a little bit of a speech impediment, so I have to be careful in how I say things sometimes. And sometimes I mangle words and I get things so wrong, and it'll get so frustrating. And one of the things you can see is that in some of the blooper reels, it's like the 15th take where I'm like, saying something I wouldn't say in this live. So it's super funny, and I get a kick out of it. And I hopefully you guys do too. So the eco is an extra fine. See, yeah, maybe it's the, maybe I don't have an extra fine. So I'm a fine guy. I feel like their fine feels like a medium. But yeah, I feel bad about that because I really love Twisby. You guys know it might be my favorite brand. I see them as kind of the I don't know, just the brand that punches way above its weight. So it's very, very cool. So I would love to have more folks join the channel, and definitely more subscribe, more comment, because I'm very active in the comments, as you guys know. I'm really interested in what you have to say. I take feedback and criticism seriously. In fact, there's a lot of cause and effect, and I think some of you will see that you say something, and I'll try it. This is from you guys. A few of you asked to have the comments on screen. This is the best I can do. I don't know if there's another way. It is slightly superfluous because you can get yours anyway through YouTube, but I'm happy to give it a shot. So let me know what you think about that. Join the channel and then come in the members section and let me know. That would be great. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about what's coming up. So we have some really fun stuff, and we're going to change up the schedule a little bit. Because the one thing I did notice is that just the internet in general is slightly down on engagement, because so many of us are doing our Christmas stuff and our holiday stuff. So I really, I think that it's probably best if I hold off some videos until next year. Jim Kerrigan says, since finding your channel, I stopped watching the review channels. The information you give is true and light-hearted. Thanks. I appreciate that, Jim. Thank you so much. And Jim is a member of this channel. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll say one thing about my channel, and I mentioned this earlier in the broadcast, is that I'm not beholden to pen companies or distributors or anything. I do get free pens, and I always tell you, like the Conway Stewart pen was free and it had the paid promotion on the video. But if I didn't like it, I would have As a matter of fact, it would have been better if I didn't like it. Because if I didn't like it and I trashed it for 20 minutes, that video would have done so well. It would have had 10 times more views than it had. I didn't like the Jinhao X159. That is one of my more successful videos. Negativity sells, sadly, on YouTube. But there's ethics involved in this. And I feel like I need to tell you guys exactly how it is. And you've seen the journey with me on some pens, right? You've seen me long for that Mont Blanc 146 with the calligraphy nib for months. And then I got it. And at first I was over the moon. And then I didn't like it. And guess what? I'm going back the other direction now. I am really enjoying it now. I'm ready to post another follow-up video because it's not always clear cut. I tried it, I don't like it. Sometimes it's a process. Sometimes it's not what you expected, but it's something else. And this pen and I are starting to bond. I'm starting to dig it as an extra fine, which I learned from writing in in the smaller journal. My situation changed, so my need for a pen changed, and I started to write in a smaller journal with the extra fine. But when I wanted to put a little bit of emphasis and I could open it up, brilliant, brilliant. So it's all about the journey, the process. But here's another thing too. If you register your pen with Mont Blanc, you can sign up for their calligraphy lessons. And I've been doing that. The sad part is they're doing my workday. So I always log in and I put it in the background and then I catch the replay. I feel like if I don't log in, they might not send me the replay. I don't know if that's true or not. I think the replays are just out there, but I'm paranoid. But I really enjoy them and I'm learning a lot. I don't know if you've noticed, but I feel like my handwriting is improving ever so slightly. So these pens, my journeys with them, my opinions are all my own. I don't have to worry if I say something bad about a pen, it won't sell in my pen shop because I don't have a pen shop. I'm not promoting, I'm just enjoying. Now, there is a thin line there sometimes because we are in effect promoting, but it's just because we love these things and I want you guys to experience them or at least know what the experience is like. So that is the whole point. Oh, some of you guys like my prose. That's so great. When you say prose, do you mean when I write? Does anybody ever stop the videos to see what I'm writing? Because there's a lot of Easter eggs in what I'm writing. There are often Shakespearean monologues that I enjoy or movie quotes that I feel are somehow appropriate or they just came to my mind when I was doing the video. I write a lot of love letters to my wife during these demos. So you'll see a lot of me writing to her. And in fact, I took that concept and there's a video coming up on June 6th called How to Write a Love Letter. And I think you guys are going to dig it. And this is how I approached it. It's a way of incorporating everything we've been speaking about since the channel started. What is the perfect setting for writing? What is the perfect ink for a love letter or for any letter, but in this case, a love letter? What is the perfect fountain pen? Which one do you choose for that? All of that. It brings all of that in a really fun way. And then I literally write a love letter to my wife while describing how I do it and why I do it. And then I sign it and wax seal it. First time wax seal. So that's exciting. Do I burn up the letter? Quite possibly. You really want to check this one out. So if I said I didn't, people are asking if I said June. I may have said June, but I meant January 6th. It's going to air January 6th. And this is something I want to bring up. So here's the schedule for the rest of the year. I think that people are somewhat involved with other things. So I'm not going to post the really artistic videos because I'm just afraid they're not going to have eyes. I was a little disappointed that the Benu pen review didn't do better because that's a really fun, beguiling, interesting, magical video. A lot of interesting moments. Now, the video quality was only so-so. I'm not great at shooting at night. But I took a lot of facts about fairies and I mixed it with the Benu pen. So I tried to make it really interesting. And it was a pretty comprehensive review along with it. So I don't think you guys are going to have um, another kind of review like that. So it's a very unique thing. So this week, I have a fairly straightforward episode coming out on my everyday carry. So it's all the stuff I carry with me all the time. Things like my pocket knife, which I go into detail about. You might be interested about. One of my favorite things in the world, which are my nail clippers. I know that sounds a little banal, but I think you're going to dig these and you might end up wanting to pick some up as a stocking stuffer. These are absolutely brilliant. My loop that I always have around because bad eyesight is kind of my middle name. So I talk about those. My frames, pretty much everything I carry, my journals, my book bag, my pens, all of that. So I think you guys are going to dig it. So this week on Thursday is the everyday carry video. So I think you guys are enjoying that. Oh, Daryl says loves the idea of the love letter video. Awesome. Yeah, it's fun. I've already watched it a few times because it's a little awkward for me to do it. It makes me a little self-conscious, but I feel like pushing myself into an awkward place is good for the channel. I think opening up and doing that and sharing it with you guys and trying to inspire people to put more love out in the world. Like if you look at that video and say, I haven't written a love letter to my wife in 20 years. You're my target audience. Get on it. You are like 19 years, 11 months late on this. So you need to get on it. So it's going to be super fun. So EDC this week and then next week are my top 5 favorite and what I think are the top 5 best inks. So super fun. And that came from a comment from one of our members who said that I don't do enough content on inks. So there you go. Your wish is my command. And then for the rest of the month, we're not going to do anything else on the videos, but we're going to do lives. And I think I'm going to do 2 lives a week for those 2 weeks that I don't post a video. Christmas week and Christmas New Year's week. And then I'm back on January 6th with how to write a love letter. And the new year is going to be very strong. After that, there's one on journaling that was filmed in a very magical place that is heavily associated with journaling. Maybe the preeminent place for journaling, if not the world, certainly the United States. So you want to stay tuned for that. So that'll be super fun too. So Wolverine asks a very good question. I addressed this in the How to Write a Love Letter video. If you don't have a wife or a steady girlfriend, then write it to a really good friend and tone it down a little. Or write it to a family member. That's all. But get some love out there. I feel like it's good to make connections. It's good to be vulnerable. I think it makes you a strong person when you can show that you have some vulnerability. I think it shows confidence and a bit of poise. So I think you guys are going to like it very much. So yes, ink video, and not just that one. There's going to be other ones, Mummy Brown, as well. I'm going to do like weirdest inks. I even have a bottle of like actual sepia, which is cool. And I'd love to open that, maybe use my Venetian glass pen. So I'm going to get into some of that. I also have 2 bottles of Quink ink from the 1940s that are still in their original packaging. So that should be super, super cool. So we're going to have a lot of fun stuff coming up in the new year. And the other thing that's kind of nice about taking these 2 weeks off, where I'm going to do the lives, is that I can then bank a bunch of videos, because Conway Stewart, that video took so much out of me that I caught up with my month of videos that I had cached, because I always schedule in advance. So right now, if I film a new video, it's not going to air until the middle of January. That's just how my channel works. So if you join my channel, I will thank you in the next video. So if you join like today and I film this weekend, the one that comes out in the middle of January will have your name. So don't feel like I missed you. It's just the way it works. And sadly, I can't edit once I post because I don't have unlimited storage. I delete all my footage. Some I recycle if it's a particularly good shot, but most of my footage I delete. So I don't want you to feel like I missed you. It just will take some time. So I am going. Did I? Why I need a I need a co-host to keep me in what do you call it, in line. I need like my own Robin Quivers or something. But the what was I going to say? So I'm going to do 2 lives. I'm going to keep the Tuesday night, and I might pick like a Saturday afternoon or Saturday night or something like that. I'm going to mix it up a little, and we'll do that for like 2 weeks, and I'll make it like scheduled programming. We'll have stuff to talk about like we did tonight. So I think it will be super duper fun. Am I in London? I am not in London. I am in Boston. So, well, I'm in Massachusetts. Not in Boston anymore. So I see a lot of love out there for love letters. I think you guys are going to love that video. It's got a little bit of Parisian flair to it. I think you're going to enjoy it. So it's going to be good stuff, guys. We have a lot of exciting stuff in the channel. So I hope you'll consider joining if you haven't already. And certainly subscribe. It's super, super fun. So I also just filled up my inkwell, my vintage 100-year-old Egyptomania inkwell that matches my Mont Blanc Egyptomania pen so brilliantly. I should probably put black in it, but it has Gerban Eclat de Saphir in it, which is really cool. One of my favorite inks. And the anniversary of Howard Carter discovering the final resting place of King Tutankhamun was a few days back. I think it was November 26th with Lord Carnarvon. So pretty interesting stuff. You thought I was in London at some point. Well, I'm there when I travel a lot, but these days not traveling as much as I would like. But we will be back. It's not that easy to travel with a 5-year-old, but I think come spring, we will be back. So it should be a lot of really fun stuff. So Thursday EDC video. I hope you guys like that. It's a slight departure, but we do talk about pens. So I think you'll enjoy it. And we are going to have a lot of new stuff. Avec is asking about the typewriter. So the typewriter I'm talking about that came in the original packaging was a Olivetti Lettera 22. So it's the Lettera 22. Absolutely beautiful blue typewriter that Dickie Greenleaf uses to write to his family, I think. And then Tom shows that he can do his signature. So it's a very, very cool typewriter. I'm a big typewriter fan. I'm sure you've seen them behind me. This back there, which way do I go? This way. That is a Royal P from the 1930s. I have a whole collection. I have about 14 or 15 typewriters. Probably work them into the content a bit more. It's been a while since we've done a typewriter video, so that could be super fun. So, very, very good stuff. Oh, so Wolf Seat Witch says to write a love letter to yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. That would be brilliant. If there's not someone you're focused on, self love is important. We are all carrying so much. So why not forgive yourself and say nice things about yourself? You've made it this far. You're doing well. So I love that idea. Absolutely brilliant. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've said it all tonight. I would urge you once again, please subscribe. Please consider joining the channel and come along on this incredible journey with us. I hope you've enjoyed this. I love talking to you guys. I might go live more often, maybe not just during this December, this magic December, but maybe in general, because it's so much fun to connect with you, to do these things live without a net. And hey, I make a few mistakes. I sometimes mislabel things, words get jangled a little bit, but you know what? At least I do it. At least I don't pre-record these. This is me now, and a lot of other YouTubers pre-record stuff and they fix all the mistakes. So we're doing okay, guys. So much love to you all. Thanks so much for watching tonight, and I'll see you very soon further up the road. Take care.